I have great respect for the land. It's produced the food for our country. We have the best food security in the world. And sometimes I think that factor gets overlooked by government officials, people in general. Stores are full of food, the cupboards are full of food. And as a farmer, I've really taken great pride in producing that food for people because I don't like to see hungry people. And I think that's one of our main objectives as a farmer, that we keep producing and that we have in America have a good food supply, and I think we do. I think my dad was a big influence. He always said, once a task has begun, never leave it till it's done. Let it be big or small, do it well or not at all. And I've lived kind of my life that way. And he was a very particular man, and I just respected him so much. And I think some of his good aspects just wore off on me or was learned by me. And I just believe that, I guess. If you're gonna do something, do it. And if you're not going to do a good job at it, then find something else to do. I believe in passion, and no matter what endeavor you choose in life, you have to be passionate about it. If you don't like your job, I've told my kids, I've told other people that I've sensed don't like their job, why don't you go find something you like to do? Yeah. Because it's not fun getting up in a day if you don't enjoy doing what you do. And that's why I enjoy getting up in a day, because I look forward to what the day is going to bring to me. I grew up in a farm family, a little town south of Bottineau, Gardena, and lived there and farmed with my dad until 6th grade. And we moved into Bottineau and still kept farming and was involved in the agriculture interests, I guess, throughout my whole life. So was involved with FFA in high school. Father became blind when he was at a young age, so my mother and sisters set up a partnership when I was 11 years old and kind of started out with the farming at that stage. And when I graduated from high school, I was able to take over the business officially, I guess. And so I've been in the farming business. I did go to college, graduated from NDSU, got my 4-year degree in plant science and agronomy. So had interest in that end of it and the research part of it. But yeah, I just continued farming and raised 4 daughters, and they enjoy the farm and have a passion for it also. So one of them moved back and is involved in the operation with me. Currently have a couple of grandsons and granddaughters that will be the 6th generation on the farm. So it's kind of exciting and interesting that legacy can be carried on. Started out really young. Dad had some eye issues, so I started kind of driving and steering the implements or the tractors and stuff, and let him know when to clutch and shift and all this kind of stuff. So it was kind of a dual purpose thing for many years, but actually got my license early because of his disability. So I started driving at a very young age too. I can't remember what I was, either 12 or 14 years old when I got my driver's license. So I've been doing a lot of driving. He was legally blind, but he rode out to the farm and kind of monkeyed in the garden every day of his life, and was lucky enough to live till he was 96 years old. So, hopefully I can carry those good genes on. When you grow up in, a farm family and see what those little seeds do and how they grow and produce throughout the year, you just become passionate about doing it all the time. When spring comes around, up in age already, and probably this is my, I would say 56 crop that I put in, and I still, every spring comes around and I get excited to go out and throw that seed in the ground. You know, we used to go with the smaller 16-foot drills and try to get 100 acres in a day, and you know, that was a pretty good day. And nowadays we go out with the 60-foot air seeders, and some guys have air seeders and planters and can plant up to 400 or 500 acres a day. So yeah, big turnaround in the equipment and productivity of it, you know. Also been amazed how the research and genetics has come along with the different crops. Back when we started, a 30, 40 bushel wheat crop was tremendous wheat crop, and nowadays we're up to that 90 plus. So it's pretty exciting to see that advancement and new technology going on now with the GPSs and the auto steers and variable seeding, variable rate fertilizing. It's kind of endless. There's been a lot of money put into the research and technology, and I think that's going to be an exciting part in the next 5 years. We'll probably see agriculture change more in the next 5 years than we have in the last 50 years. So it's pretty exciting to see all that stuff. We have very productive land and not much for rocks in it. So yeah, it's heavy ground, and we're struggling a little bit with excess moisture this year, but we've struggled with the dryness the last few years, so we can put up with some of that too. So yeah, soil and crops, it's just a big interest wherever I go. But I've traveled around, done quite a bit of traveling, but it's never better than coming home and being right in the area.
You know what sounds like fun? Your oasis for fun at the new and improved Four Bears Casino and Lodge. Now that sounds like fun.
Big Boy Toys.
Lake Metigoshe State Park is nestled in the rich forest and wetlands between North Dakota and Canada. And at this park, you can get a little taste of everything. The park covers approximately 4,000 feet of shoreline on the picturesque Lake Metigoshe. Splash and play at sandy beaches with your family, or roam the docks with your best friend. Who says you need your own boat to enjoy the lake? Just rent a kayak or one of our pontoons for a few hours. The water is a living thing, supporting a variety of wildlife and changing year-round to offer new adventures. Explore the nearby Ermash and School Section Lake, canoe through the autumn splendor, and ice fish on the frozen waves. You'll never see the water the same way twice, even in the same spot.
My great-grandfather was born in Pomeranian, Germany, back in 1858. He moved to America in 1883. He settled at Rochester, Minnesota for 3 years, and then he moved to North Dakota in 1883 and built one of the first sod houses along Oak Creek in northwest of Willow City, and he lived there for 3 years. And then in 1893, he purchased the original farmstead and land by Gardena, and he farmed there. So that was my great-grandfather. Then my father farmed that land. My father got married to my mother in 1943. He purchased the farm a mile north of the original homestead land and established the farm that I farm today in 1944. And I've carried that out. So I'm the fourth generation, as I mentioned before. So the history does go back a long ways. It was interesting, in In 1892, my great-grandfather had purchased a binder, and he was one of the first few that had a binder. Well, the horses got excited, took off, and killed one of his sons and cut off his left hand. So he was kind of a one-armed farmer, livestock raiser, or whatever, but they called him Opapa, and he did very well with it. They made him a leather strap to go onto his arm and a steel hook or whatever on there, and became very, productive with that. But it was kind of an interesting story of the times that they went through to carry things on. So my grandpa died when he was 54 years old. So my brother and uncle, they quit school. They weren't going to go to high school. They kind of quit in 8th grade. And then they had a principal that was very active and wanted them to get educated. So he talked him into coming back, and he did graduate from high school in Gardena. I think there was 10 kids in my class in Gardena to 76 when I came to Bottineau. So, and then we transferred rooms, which there was kind of a one room, teach all in one class or same area. So yeah, it was a big change, and kind of was a lone ranger for a couple of weeks until I got involved. The guys asked me to play football or whatever at recess, and I loved athletics and stuff, so got involved in that, and then just fit right in and just loved it because of the opportunities that were there at Bottineau with the sports and the FFA. I'm fortunate to have, good community, good education, good friends, and yeah, I was really involved in, say, the football, basketball, track, and got involved in FFA, and that took me to different levels and traveling that I wasn't able to take and do with the various soil judging teams and crop judging teams, and lucky enough I was able to get my American Farmer degree after I graduated from school, and went on, was able to go up here. We were at NDSU Bottineau branch of forestry, it was called, back when I was going to college in the 70s. I was able to play a couple years of college basketball up here, got involved in the agronomy, and went down to Fargo in 78 and 79 and finished up my bachelor's degree down there. And lucky enough, when I was up here, I found a good partner. While I was playing basketball, she was one of the cheerleaders on the basketball team, and we ended up getting married and having a family, and was able to move back or stay in the Bottineau area, and we've enjoyed our lives, all along. I was up in Bottineau 2 years, went to NDSU 2 years. The year I was a junior down at Fargo, she went to Wahpeton and got her LPN nursing degree. And then when I was a senior, she came back to Fargo, worked my senior year, and I graduated in the spring of 79. And then we got married in June of 79 and moved back to Bottineau because she enjoyed Bottineau too. She liked the town, and the lake was close by, so gave different aspect to things. And a year later, we had our first daughter. That was in 1980. We had second daughter in 1982. We had the third daughter in 85, and then our fourth daughter in 1990. They started out mowing grass, riding lawnmowers at a pretty young age. They worked from 7th grade on until they graduated, each one of them. They were spaced out a little bit, so as one went to college, the other one took over bin cleaning, sweeping, vacuuming, whatever. And then they went on to truck driving. They went on to grain cart, hauling. So they kind of took care of that part of it. So they were all out there and showed how to do it. I was pretty lenient and let them go to basketball camp, music camps, Bible camp, whatever. But they knew the work was there, and I guess there was enough of us that we filled in the gaps. But they knew that, that they worked, and I'm not a big preacher. I'd rather they learn by, say, my example or whatever, and I think they did pick up on that if you're gonna get things done, you gotta put the time in and do it. They always said Bottineau's best kept secret, and I've always felt that way, that we've just been blessed to have productive land, farmland, since I enjoy the farming end of it. If you're a hunter or a fisherman, we have, both of them. We have some snow skiing in the wintertime, ice fishing in the wintertime, fishing in the summer. So I think we're lucky in this area. Luckier than most people really want to think about or say. So.
Hey everybody, Joe Beaver here. We're promoting Hart Trailers. We're talking about the product. Let's just get into it. From the first weld to the last inspection, we as Hart have done all we can do to guarantee you've got the best trailer your money can buy. They pull good. I don't have any trouble with them. They are user friendly. I want you to know that if you have a doubt one, don't buy it because there's somebody else that's gonna buy it right behind you.
We're more than a store. We're more than a brand. We are the lifestyle. We are all things Western. NRS.
If you can give your time or see somebody else better, you know, we're running into that now as I age. I want my grandkids to do well and look good and do the right things. It's not about me. I think it's the legacy of maybe the people that came before us, and I'm getting more grateful for what they did back then because that's what I have now. I'm looking at how can I carry that through, because Dad always said, you know, you're on the farm, make this farm better than when you took it over. And I guess that's what I kind of strive for, that I want to make it better for my daughter, my grandkids, or son-in-law, or whoever's going to take it over. Because, you know, you talk about sustainability nowadays, and it's a word that just kind of, you know, riles me up a little bit, because, you know, we're at sixth generation farming. And I believe, you know, we have that's sustainability to me right there. 6 years of generation, 100 and some years of people being out on that land taking care of it. I got my daughter now, we've lived on that land. You know, we're gonna do things that are good for us being out there because we're living on the land. We're gonna pass this land on. Nobody cares more about that land than we do and the legacy that we have behind it. So to me, that's sustainability. The carbon issue has become just huge with everything. And now they want to pay, you know, some of the agriculture farmers for carbon sequestration so much an acre. And a good way of getting rid of carbon is by producing plants. You know, plants utilize the carbon dioxide, make oxygen. So yeah, it makes things better. But to me, does it really help the situation that much if you're going to pay an agriculture or a farmer, and then the big business can just pay to keep polluting and doing what they're doing over here on the other side? And to me, that's not looking at what you talked about, the whole future or succession in good environment. And that's another thing that, you know, is a concern of mine is the inputs to raise these crops now is horrendous compared to when I started. You know, and Dad and I even talked about that because he went back through the dirty 30s. And he said, you know, we were kind of lucky back then because all we did is we put the seed in a drill, and that's about all the inputs that we had was our seed costs. So if we lost that, that's what we lost. But nowadays the input, the land costs, and it just has really extended to a height that I'm a little concerned that a good amount of people are going to be willing to take on that more financial risk to do the farming or what I've done in a lifetime. That's a big concern of mine with machinery costs. You know, first tractor we bought is $25,000. Now the last tractor, 700 and some thousand. You know, combine's over $1 million. And it's just the input costs have really increased. And I don't know somebody 20 years old or graduating from college if they're going to be willing to take on that output to try to get back, you know, on the positive side. Not that it hasn't been good, and we've gone through some of them hardships, hail and drought and stuff like that. We went through the 80s. That was a terrible financial situation. But there again, I think, you know, that kind of proved that you better have your nose to the grindstone, you know, and pay attention to finances and keep up on genetics and research and be as productive as you can. And it just, it kind of wakes people up, just like maybe going hungry once in a while doesn't hurt everybody, just so they have a taste of it, but not too long. When farming season comes, I've been kind of accused by the family of, Dad, think of something other than farming, but I'm zoned into farming, and I think about it, you know, 20 hours a day and still work long hours and enjoy it, but I guess my health has been good, so it allows me to do that also. It's my hope, and you know, that we can keep agriculture in the family sense, because I think once you take it out from family run, owned, and turn it into corporate, the passion is not going to be there. You know, that individual, or myself, let it be a neighbor, whoever, isn't going to be out there, going to want to go out there at 4:30 in the morning and stay out combining or seeding all night long. It just takes away the passionate and I think productivity of that type of farming. So I'm hoping that our government officials and those in charge can realize the importance of that family farm or ranch out there. Daughter and son-in-law just joined the operation here a few years ago, and I told my son-in-law, don't get too settled in on what's happening this year, because next year's going to be a whole new ballgame, a whole new issues to deal with, you know, if it's not drought or flood or insects, or it's never the same. So no, I don't get settled in with farming. I'm kind of on my toes constantly. A farmer or rancher, you know, you wear a lot of different hats. You know, one day you're in the bank or the financial end of it. Another day you got to maybe do a little mechanic work or welding, or yeah, it's something. Every day is a little bit different, and I think that makes it kind of exciting to get up and think, what am I going to be doing today? It's not you're in a factory line and you know that you're going to box that particular item for your 8 hours and go home and do the same thing every day. So yeah, I think that's the excitement of it. I don't mind a challenge. Yeah, they're there every day, and it keeps life going. I get out on the tractor and you can think about whatever you want to think about, and there's no telephones ringing usually, or you're not sitting in the office. You can go out and enjoy these nice, beautiful days, mornings, whatever. So the work is there, and you just have to decide when you're going to get it done. Being able to get up, and I guess I really enjoy, you know, this time of the year, get up early in the morning, going spraying, and sun's out, and birds are singing. It's kind of cool in the morning, and just being out in the environment and taking on a challenge for the day. Well, my wife wants me to kind of start slowing down, retiring a little bit, but I still enjoy that challenge that we've visited about. Healthy, I feel good, and I'm not a big fisherman, golfer, whatever, so I just enjoy getting up in the day. I'm used to working those 16, 18-hour days, and I just enjoy doing what I'm doing. You know, we got up at age now where we've got some nicer equipment to run, and you know, I think back to the days of some of the stuff that we had to run and try to get through the day, and And I'm just enjoying doing what I'm doing. So I don't know, maybe I should, I think it was Warren Buffett, somebody asked him, when are you gonna retire? And he said 10 years after I die, so I think that's where I'm at.